Yes, good morning. Thank you. Glad you're all well. Right. First question has been the 240 or the 4 hour, or even the hourly if you're going to look at the 4 hour, and going through some trades in the and the setups. So one thing, the most important thing is that there's got to be a trend established in the longer time frame. Are we in mid phase one, or are we at that turning point where phase one is going to finish? So just looking at this particular pair, I can see there's a bit of a support here. It's not a strong one. If we look at the monthly, it's not a huge support line. So it's really only these lows here that's held it up, and you could call it a 49. However, we're obviously in a downtrend. We've just bounced off exhaustion to sort of go a little bit sideways. So here we've got higher highs, higher lows, and this would suggest that you're in phase two. However, what you'd need to look at is, did phase one actually reach that point where it was finished? And there you could suggest, yes, okay, well, we certainly turned around inside the sell zone. So at that point, you go, well, there's nothing doing there. There's no opportunities. So, because we're in the middle of, well, so we're at that turning point where phase two is looking like it's going to commence. Yeah. So we might then look at something like this pair, which has clearly been in a trend, and has it reached its point of exhaustion? And so you need to measure the previous uptrend to get this new phase one down here. We're only just now getting into that. If there's any sort of buying at this off here, you'd say we're at that point of. There might be a few more pips left in this, but we're down to another maybe 90 pips left in it. But let's just go back in time to here, where we were only just sort of making new lows. And so at this point in time, was there an opportunity on the 4-hour chart? And that's this area here. So we can see that in that there's this cyclicity in the 4-hour where we would have been able to find an opportunity. And the one I'm looking at is this little ring high here, and you'd have your stop above that high there, and you'd be going short here. Yeah. And then you get this reversal bar, your stop would be above that. Then you get this test bar, your stop's above that. And then you get this reversal bar here, and so your entry would have been, your exit would have been there. So this one here, you're getting in at, say, let's call it at 70, and you're getting out at 80, making basically 20 pips, and having risked 15 or 20 pips. So that's a 1-to-1, and that's an example of getting in on the 4-hour. Is there one? I was looking at the Euro Aussie, but it's phase two on the 4-hour, which we don't trade. But again, there's we can see that once a trend is established, such as this downtrend here, we can use the shorter time frames to participate. There was no entry on the 4-hour, but if we look at the hourly during that time, there were potential swing points and entries on the Euro Aussie. Even when it was trading back up, you might have found opportunities in this. There's no real strong one, so unlikely. Aussie dollar at the moment is in a downtrend. We're at the point of exhaustion, so there's no opportunity there. Just trying to think of something that there might be an opportunity. Not there. Let's look at the pound. That's clearly in a trend. We're not yet near exhaustion, so there's how do we participate in this? Is there an opportunity there on the 4-hour? not really. There's nothing exciting there. But there has been opportunities on the hourly, and I think I mentioned this yesterday. There was potential opportunities there. And now you're doing a phase 2, so you'll be looking for another opportunity here, and this is around here maybe later this evening. That's on the hourly. Euro dollar. Not really. What else is trending that's in the middle of the trend? How about euro yen? Okay, so again, that's at the turning point. We've got this class C divergence here. Pound yen, where's that at? Anyone know of a pair that's, how about dollar CAD? Clearly in an uptrend. Yeah, so there's something you could look at. You've got that little swing above the 50 EMA. We're back in an uptrend of a, let me get dollar CAD. I'd say this is pretty much range bound. There's that what's that trend line underneath there? That's that strong trend line. See this as being range bound both fundamentally and technically. This fib is from a long term, that move there. Price seems to be stuck between those two. And so we're now moving back away from this low here, and we're definitely in an uptrend. So last night, under this 4-hour chart, so what time is this? This bar is 1200, which is in 7 hours. What's that, 9 o'clock your time, or 7 p.m. your time yesterday in Sydney? There was an opportunity here, a little ring low. You would be doing a fib, going, okay, the 618 is support. Is there a horizontal support line somewhere around here that the market's reacting to? It only has to be a minor one. And you look at that high there and go, well, okay, that seems to be a reasonable level. Is it reacting on the daily? Yeah, that low there. So let's go with that. Price is closed back above it. You're getting in here, your stop's there. Yeah, so you're in at 91.09.15. You got maybe a 30 pip stop, and you might move. Well, it's a bearish bar. This bar looks like a lower high, lower low. So you might have halved your risk by moving your stop up a bit closer. Does that make sense, guys? Are you all still there? Can you hear me? Yep. Aussie Swiss, thank you. Let's go back to Aussie Swiss on the daily, yeah. Okay, so there's a reasonably strong trend here in the daily. This is like the Euro Aussie. Yeah. Two touches trading on the third. Nice support there. Do you have a support line? Horizontal. You could suggest that 82 was reacted to. And you're looking at that's exactly what you're doing there is what you need to be doing on the 4 hour as well. So there's no real major difference to it. So the 618 is giving us support. If we look at the 4 hour though, that's a phase 2, so we can't trade the shorter time frames until it's up and above the 50 EMA. So, but the daily's certainly there, and the Euro Aussie is the same. It's the same, effectively the same trade. Okay. Anyway, so so you wouldn't necessarily wait for a cycle above or below the EMA when it comes to the 4-hour chart? Absolutely, I would. As I said, this guys, can you just hang on a second? Sorry. Whenever you're changing from a downtrend to an uptrend, you always need to wait for that first cycle, no matter what the time frame. So, the 4-hour in this example is in a phase 2. So you're not trading this phase 2. You need to be waiting for the price to do a cycle under the 50 EMA. So in waiting for that, you've got an opportunity on the daily to go in here tomorrow morning. Because we've had that first cycle. There was an opportunity to trade the other day, last week. Yep. The entry was there. The exit would have been either here or around here. So making 200 pips, having risked 120. So always waiting for that first cycle when the shifting, changing directions on a trend. This 4-hour, was it an uptrend? If you believe the uptrend is still going to happen on the daily, then you've got your cycle on the 4-hour. I don't think that's the case. The daily, everything's pointing to a new phase 1 down, and so that'll be a trading opportunity for tomorrow. So got to wait for that first cycle. That was the head and shoulder breakout from earlier. Yeah, Aussie Swiss. As I said, it's exactly the same as the Euro, just upside down. It's a mirror image. So this is, you're either trading, if you're trading Aussie Swiss and Euro Aussie, where it's the same trade. If they both fail, you'll lose on both trades, or if one fails, the other one will fail. So be smart with your capital allocation in terms of what risk you got. Okay. Next one was ECB quantitative easing. In my report, I said they're not allowed to print money. The question is, what makes them different? Aren't they just a central bank and allowed to do that? No, under their mandate, they've got strict rules around what they can do and what they can't do. Otherwise, they open themselves up to the whole heap of corruption with the Union of 18 Nations, or however many there are. But their mandate says they literally can only tackle inflation. They've got to control inflation. So it's under that inflation is not doing anything in the European Union. It's stagnant, and it's pretty much flat at 0.2, I think it is. So it's not going anywhere. And that's the struggle that the ECB has at the moment, is how to increase inflation so they're starting to grow again. But they can not necessarily print money. They can sort of kickstart inflation by using interest rates. And unlike an asset purchase program, which is literally buying bonds, creating money to buy bonds, and therefore control the interest rate market, these guys will have to use other tools at their disposal by getting them to stimulate the economy, such as going into negative deposit rates. So that means that all the big banks like Deutsche and Swiss Bank, who hold money with the ECB, would be charged to hold money with the ECB. So therefore, those big banks and Bank National Paris and all those ones would then, instead of holding the money at the ECB, they would utilise that money and loan it out to institutions to try. And that's the sort of way that they would get it going. So the ECB is, it's not in their mandate to print cash. Okay, Aussie dollar. Analysing the Aussie, I thought it looked like it had formed a range between 92 and 94.5. When I tried to generate a checklist where I had to put the fib extensions, yeah, you're not going to be able to. There is no way you can get extensions in here. If you think it's in a range because the 200 EMA is flat, well, the 50's gone flat too over the last 3 days. And you think it's 94.5, I think that might be, yeah, I would have gone in here as your potential range, which is 92 to 94 is 200 pips. Look, if what you need is the market to reacting to a fib, and that's why you don't draw the fib from here, because that's just where you started from, so there's no point having that Fibonacci there. What you could do is draw something like find out if the market's reacting to Fibonacci levels of any sort of description. That seems to be one. What I'd be looking at is this weekly one and going, well, what's this doing? And drawing the fib from that and saying, okay, well, look, we've got the support of the 50, which is almost this horizontal line that I've got, and it's 92.08. So that's my support. Where my resistance is, we'll cross that bridge when you get back up there. But if you're looking for a reason to support this trade, that's where your fib extensions, or sorry, your Fibonacci level would be generated from. It's not an extension, but it is clearly a Fibonacci support level. When drawing fibs and E-signal, we use the fib RET button for both. Yes. As well as extensions. Yes. So the same tool here. You're drawing your fib retracements. So the fib RET tool. You're drawing that to get your fib retracement, the 618. It's funny how that nails it every. Well, maybe if I had it at the right low, it might. Yeah, okay. So there's my retracement. Yep. But I'll use the same tool to get my extensions by going that way, and my extensions are built in at 1.2, 1.618. Same thing in E-signal. So let's just have a look at your analysis. In a range, there's hidden divergence there, targeting that previous high. Which is the 1.272, is it? No, it's 94.62. Okay. So in this, if you're looking at this 200-point range, you're looking at, hey, wrong thing, wrong tool, this tool. So you're looking at 50 pips or 60 pip stop for 150, so it's 2. It's not bad. Yeah. Okay. So, mate, are you here with us today? No, you're not here. Okay. Well, when you watch this, I hope you understand that what I was trying to say with the fibs is you can't get an extension in there, but you need, besides a horizontal, you need a Fibonacci support level, and you can see where I generated one from, which is this move here. We get the 50 and as the support. Okay. My new coach Zeev has instructed me to trade all swing highs and swing lows and every entry in the income generator at 0.01 lot size on my prop account for at least three weeks, and I've started with a pound long last Monday. Will you approve this? I don't know really what Zeev's going on about. I don't mind you doing the income generator swing highs and swing lows. Yes. I don't know if the pound gave us a swing high, income generator, but certainly that trade from Monday was a good one, or a nice entry. How we manage it remains to be seen. We've got GDP tonight. So as long as you take screenshots like what you see up in front of you now, if you're looking at this, I don't mind you doing income generator, I don't mind you doing swing highs, swing lows, but I want to see the analysis and a checklist of or reasons why you took the trade or why you're looking at the trade. Yeah. So then we can go back and analyze the results later on. Yeah. Somebody says Zeev is not going to be with us for much longer, apparently. Or starting up rumors, I don't know. I don't know where he's at or what he's doing. Okay, pound. I entered the pound last week on the 16th of May, bar 3 on the 16th. So you went in there, okay. I think it was probably a bit early, but you just got away with it. It fits the bar setup rules you sent through. Not really, because we're the lower high, lower low. This is just one, it's clear selling power, or seller bar, seller bar, seller bar, seller bar, seller bar, seller bar, and you get one buy bar. That's not enough for me to go, hey, and whilst it's a buy bar, it's still a lower high, lower low. So to me, that's, yes, there's all the reasons that that we want are there. We've got a support line, we've got Fibonacci, you've got 50 EMA, you've even got a trend line. But I think that's why I said it's an aggressive entry. It does kind of fit the rules, but it's aggressive, and I would have gone in with just a maybe a 0.5%, and then followed up above this bar once we get the confirmation that the buyers are here. When we get a higher high, we get that confirmation. But at this point in time, when you're looking at it like that, like that, that's not enough. Sorry, I'll take this off. That's not enough to start, getting excited about just yet for a full 1%. That sort of is a bit clearer. Euro Aussie. I like your analysis. You do the good work there. You've got everything there. The fib's in the right place. Everything's fine. Low test bar off the fib. Again, I don't see it as a low test bar. I mean, that's borderline. It's not. It certainly doesn't look like that. I thought, to me, that's a lovely looking low test bar. Where's another one? Yeah, these are two high test bars. There's the low test bar. Anyway, you're in, and that's good. It's just, as I said, I think it was an aggressive entry with only half a day's buying against all this selling. Euro Aussie. 0.2%, 0.1, Again, this was I consider an aggressive entry. If you're trading this today, I'd say that's an aggressive entry, and you'd use half your normal risk. So if 0.2 is half your normal risk, you then add another entry of 0.2, so you're now 0.4 to the market, and your next entry would be underneath this bar, because now you've got the confirmation that the sellers are there. You didn't have that. Again, it's just once, and if you look at it, there's only a couple of hours of selling. Entries in there is only really those 3-4 bars there. I'm pretty sure that's where it was, wasn't it? What's that price there is? 47.90. 47.90. Okay. So how many bars? Yeah, 14. You'd go from this bar here, 13 hours of selling. That's half a day. Not really a great deal, but it's working out. Getting that thanks to the Chinese, getting a bit of a bounce in the Aussie, and so you can add to it later. Euro Aussie, if it sets up for a short tomorrow, where would you draw the resistance? Obvious resistance is at 50.30, but then I think bigger resistance is at 50. Nice round number of $1.50 here. Yep. You can see this dotted line that I've got, which is what I call a soft resistance. I've got 1-2 highs here and a bottom here, a bottom there. But if we go to the longer time frame, it really sort of doesn't get that much interaction. So, but a soft one is all we need. And if you're looking at your Fibonacci, the 618 there is pretty good as well. Going back to the Aussie, you were talking about you can't get a fib extensions, but prices reacting to the 50 fib. So would you be able to still be able to consider this a range trade? It's not going to be able to score a full. Yeah, yes, you can, because on the checklist you've got you need to have a strong horizontal. You need to have Fibonacci, divergence in RSI. You need to have price action, obviously, and you need to have a fib. And what you want is an extension. The reason why we ask for extension is because you want the price to be exhausted, and you generally get so that there's a stronger reason for it to turn around. And the fact that RSI had got down to 20, it's not overly exhausted, but such as up here. But you're at that level, and if you've got this strong Fibonacci and the strong support level, the same time as you're exhausted, then there's a higher chance of that turning around. So that's why we ask for Fibonacci extensions. But it's obviously clear that if the range is only set in the last sort of 2 months, there's nowhere where we could make a valid Fibonacci level give us an extension. So therefore you need some Fibonacci reason for the market to be turning off these prices, and I believe that the validity of this 50 fib from that move down is strong enough. If that answers your question. All right. Good. Euro Aussie, you're looking at taking this short tomorrow if today's bar ends up being a seller bar, meaning we're going to have a ring high. Perfect. Yep. Can you give me feedback on my technical analysis? One concern is that RSI is around the middle and perhaps won't get a massive move, meaning risk reward may not be fantastic. Well, you've got your RSI at 14, so we need to change that, okay? For starters, this trend line I don't see as valid. you've cut through all of this. What about that top there? You've missed that, and so therefore you can't have trend line there as a part of it. Your Fibonacci's correct. That's good. You've got a horizontal at 48.43, which is roughly where I've got mine off these highs and those lows, so that's good. Bearish price action, yes, we have that, and should have that by the end of this time tomorrow. You're under the FEM, yeah, everything else is there. So first is your RSI should be at 6. So if we look at my RSI, which was at 6, we're sitting at 52. Having come off 64, and that's generally when you get the new end of phase 2 and new phase 1, it's around, you want it to be above 50, and it'll be somewhere between 50 and 80. You can see I've got RSI 6 here, so I think we've got plenty of room, and these things can get oversold. When you're trading currency crosses, you can get oversold as it did here on the 27th, but still put in another couple hundred pips so before it turned. So there's still plenty of upside to go in this. And as to your trend line, you can't have it. Doesn't mean it's the end of the world if you don't have it, but if you're looking at that trend line there, you might go to something like that to get that top, but you're still not anywhere near it. If you come to this top here, well, then you get that top. Well, you're just ignoring all of this information here, and I don't think that makes it a valid trend line. You're just drawing 2 touches so you can get a third, when you should be drawing it for price action purposes, such as, well, there's the 2 highs, or even there's 2 highs. Does that make sense? On a fundamental perspective, there are a couple of things to think about. I know you have been saying that the Aussie is set to decline, that we haven't been having the best economic news. By the same token, Europe isn't too flash either, particularly with Draghi on the prowl. Perhaps the fundamentals are still in favour of the short traders in comparison, while the Aussie economy is the best. Perhaps just trying to convince yourself. No, I agree with you. They're both probably going to be under pressure, but the euro dollar should be under a lot more pressure than the Aussie. So whilst I am still bearish the Aussie, I think that that's seems to be a bit of a support here. It might come back up here before falling. It failed to make a higher high. It's still making higher lows at this stage. But I'm not going to be buying the Aussie. But I can be long Aussie, so to speak, by being short this. So that's all good. So just fix your RSI up, and it'll see that it's okay. And with your trend lines, just need some work on that. Okay, Euro Yen, today's trade action, Euro Yen trend reversal. Yeah, I think we just sort of had a brief look at that, didn't we? Euro Yen. I was trying to find a trade. There's divergence there. Yep. More comfortable with this than the Swiss yen, because coming off a stronger level tested in 2009, and that clear run to next level of resistance at $1.40. Okay, so yeah, Class C divergence, fib extensions. Yep, good. Fib's in the right place. I wonder if that 200 EMA, where's that? That's a bit further away. What trend line, if there's any trend line support to as well. No. Well, it's broken that one, hasn't it? Okay. And you said there's a support line from 2009. Are these highs? Yeah. big time. Yep. Okay, so you got a higher high today. There certainly would be that, and that would make the Aussie yen seem attractive. If you're selling the Euro Aussie and you're buying the Euro yen, you're effectively buying the Aussie yen if you're putting the same amount of risk on it, obviously. And what's that look like? Okay. So good analysis. You got everything there for phase two? Yes. Obviously, with European data out tonight, this need to be careful. Wait till tomorrow. Excuse me. Trading against the trend. Thanks for the feedback. We'll adjust my RSI, and yes, we'll be more careful during those trend lines. Cool. Euro Aussie, would you have considered an early entry today, give the bar close so bearish? Yes. As I said, you could have gone with the Euro Aussie. It is an aggressive entry, and I have gone in with 0.5%. Again, I'm in the house account watching this Euro Pound, but I've gone in with 0.5% underneath this, and then I'll go in with another 0.5% once the news is out tonight, and we've got this confirmation. Yep. So can you explain what happened with the Japanese news the other day? Was it as expected? The Japanese news, with that they didn't change stimulus. Yeah, I did say to you guys that if they didn't change or add any more stimulus, that they would it would break the support line, which it's done, but it's now bounced off the 200. I think the strength is more about US dollar than any sort of yen weakness. The fact that they're not doing anything and they're sitting on their laurels makes the yen appear stronger. Okay, but they won't sit on their laurels for too long. The Japanese, they should start having a real go with their economy. It's a pretty dicey world they live in terms of how much debt they're carrying. Yeah. Can you repeat that comment, please? If you are selling the euro and then effectively buying the euro yen, you'll get it on, or will I get it on the replay? You'll get it on the replay. If you're selling the euro Aussie, yeah, euro versus Australian, you're then short euro and long Aussie. Yes? If you're also doing that trade by, and the same tomorrow morning, then buying euro, selling yen, and let's say you do 1% on both, then you're short 1% euro, long 1% Aussie, then you're long 1% euro, short 1% yen. So therefore euro cancels out and you're long Aussie and you're short yen. Therefore you're long Aussie yen. That make sense? You mentioned it could take off, and I guess we will want to catch it if it does in the dollar yen. Dollar yen, yeah. Look, I'm considering taking this trade tomorrow. I'm not prepared to get into it today, but there's your. And am I trading it as a phase two? No, I'd be trading this as a range. You've got a little bit of divergence from here. Not so much here. Certainly there's divergence from the last time you were down here. And range trade, which I never get right for some reason. I just can't trade them to save myself. So I'll only put a little bit on it, but I just want to be involved in it. See how we go. Right. Question on the EuroCAD. EuroCAD phase two. took this trade yesterday before seeing your analysis and saying no divergence. Yeah, there's no divergence. This is not a lower, this is a higher low. And you're saying, well, there's a lower low there. That's the opposite type of divergence. I know the lines are going in the opposite direction, but that's not the divergence. What we want to see is lower lows. We want to see higher lows in the momentum. Okay, so opposite to what we're seeing here, which is higher highs and lower highs. Down here, we want to see lower lows, and let's see if the Euro Aussie, did the Euro Aussie give us divergence? No, the Aussie Yen's giving us, the Euro Yen's giving us divergence now. So what you're looking at is here we're getting lower lows all the way down, yep. And then we're getting across here higher lows, only just, or if not, this is what's Class C divergence, yep. So if they were clear higher lows, then that would be Class A, but this is Class C. Okay, so yeah, that was that's not divergence. Looking for the cycle under the 50 and retouch to go short. Yep, so am I. I'm looking to get short around here somewhere. Although personally, traded the 4-hour here. Looking to trade the 4-hour under here. This cycle on the 4-hour. Potentially. The daily seems to, it did get down to the 1.618, but I think it might have another crack at it to give us that divergence that you're after. I struggle to get my head around the last part regarding what you are actually doing when you are seeing trading in the Euro Aussie in addition to the other currencies that cancels things out. Okay, well, let's let me try a spreadsheet, a simple spreadsheet sort of thing. The gentleman had this yesterday. So let's say you're long one Euro and Yen, yeah, and Euro Aussie, and therefore Aussie Yen, and you can do this for any currency. So effectively you're long one, yeah, and here you are short one. So that means you are you're short one of these and you are effectively long one of these. Yep. So if that's the case, then these cancel out, don't they? Yeah. Don't these would cancel out? So these two cancel each other out because you're long one, short one, and therefore you're left with long one Aussie, short one Yen. So you are effectively then trading this currency pair like that. Does that sort of clear it up a bit? So just write them out like that, and of your currency pairs, and it might not be one. You might do it as a percentage, to see where what your exposure is. Yeah. And so if you just sort of put it in a spreadsheet like that, it should make it a little bit clearer for you. Yeah. Okay. Right, so that's your Euro CAD. You're also looking at the pound, which you went long. A lot of colours in here. I feel like getting on a float down Oxford Street when I see this sort of shit. I also got into the pound the other night and stupidly panicked and pulled the trade for a small loss following the volatility on the news, clearly against the rules. Yep. Okay. Yeah, this is a good entry. You've got everything here. Your analysis is fabulous. Future retracement. Yeah, and that's the problem when we resistance in the way, you can't say you didn't say yes to that. That's good, because $1.70 is quite strong. And that's the problem with looking at the shorter time frames when you're trading on the daily. You've got to be able to separate the time frames and saying, okay, well, look, I'm not going to panic. I've got the daily trade on. With the pound, I had the daily and the hourly going, and I still got the daily, and my hourly is out of the trade. So in here and then out over here, underneath this bar last night. So whilst the daily is still going. So you've got to be able to separate the two different time frames and say, okay, I'll make my decision when the time frame is up, which is tomorrow morning. Don't worry about what's happening now. Don't even, if you're in this daily now, look, you're not worrying about this bar. Worry about what happens tomorrow morning. Okay, and where's your pound Aussie one gone? Or did I just close that? Sorry, mate. Let me open it again. Ah, more colours. Lovely. Right, would you give this right arrow as a lower high compared to the left arrow? This one as a lower high to that one? Yes? I would. Placed long order on Friday based on fundamentals, didn't trigger. Okay. Didn't place an order again on Monday. Should I have? Oh, okay. Look, this is not something I would. It's hard for me to sort of, because it's breaching the rules the way I would be trying to teach trading. You're trading the fundamentals. It's a different kettle of fish. I think that this inside bar would give you, and it's a test bar on a Friday, would give you pause for thought. But there's certainly, if you're looking to trade this, you should have been placing it after this bar here. So Tuesday morning. Right. If that makes sense. Would you regard the right hour as a lower high compared to? Yeah, absolutely. And so, this is your first cycle and you're looking at it. The fact that this low hasn't broken this low means that, this downtrend is now under threat. And now that we've made a higher high, guess what we're going to be doing? We're going long. And so we need to have a cycle above the EMA to get in. So would that lower high be a reason not to take the trade? Well, I think you're looking at this to go long here is that you are getting lower highs and lower lows. So this, when we broke through these lows here and broke through these lows here, and you failed to get a higher high, you're then in a technical downtrend, and the downtrend is still intact until this high got broken, which it did a couple of days ago. And now the downtrend's broken. We could be seeing a bit of sideways action like this sort of crap. But it's not until you get that cycle back above the 50 that you start looking for new entries. And so that's what you're looking at here. Yeah. So it failed to make a higher high, went and broke the low. We're looking for shorts here because you're now technically in a downtrend. Yeah. And then it then goes and makes a higher high, so it breaks the downtrend, and so you get that the first cycle above the 50 EMA again, and then you're looking at going long. So I wouldn't have been going long here, and I didn't. There's obviously there's 300 or 400 people running this, so it's lovely. But now technically you've broken the downtrend. Will it engage in a new uptrend? We have to wait and see. And will it engage in a new downtrend? We'll have to wait and see. From a technical point of view, though, you've broken the trend. So You could be in a range, you could be in an uptrend, you could be in a downtrend, who knows from here. We'll have to wait for price action to tell us. Is it correct that the high only needs to break the previous high and that the previous cycles can be superseded? Yeah. Yes. No answer to that. All right, Noel. Right. Analysis review. Thanks for your feedback and giving clarity. What I learned from it is to be more particular about the entry. I think I misunderstood where to enter from the manual. Okay, I need to revisit that. Yeah, the manual might be a little different if you, in the course we sort of try and change the manual. I have updated the manual, and the next course in July will have those updates. So be sure to come along and ask for manuals. If you can't make it, give the guys a heads up a week or so in advance so they can post a manual out to you. And use the right words in the terminology. Does help, and it's not key. Sorry about the reference in my email. I didn't realise it would be so public. Okay, sorry. I don't know. Yeah. It's kind of public, but it's also nobody knows who you are. I don't mention names unless it's Norm. That's because I know Norm's got thick skin. Right. So last one. Let's just come in this morning as we've started out with Swiss yen. Swiss yen. Will the manual be ready for the boot camp in 2 weeks' time? I don't know. I don't know if they sent it to the printers or not. Okay. Swiss yen. Let's have a look at this person's analysis. All right. Horizontal support at $1.13. Okay. I'm not sure exactly what this is. I know it's a Fibonacci, but I don't know why that's there. RSI 6. RSI divergence lower, but RSI is flat. Yep. Fib resistance at 1.272. Okay, I'm not seeing that on your chart. Still learning to understand fibs, but notice that 1.2 is at the resistance level. Okay, right out. That's wrong. I'll go and show you how. Don't know if this trend line is actually valid. Okay, so your fib's wrong. Everything else is good, and I'm not sure if this trend line is any value of having it on the chart. So let's go and have a look at what we do. You said $1.13 is your support level. I presume you're going off something like that. Or if we go a bit lower, come here, you. $1.13. Yeah, is it really a strong? It needs to be strong support, okay? And I don't see it as being a strong support. Perhaps the high of this bar, which is there. Yeah, that might be a bit better. So if we go there, yeah, you get a few highs. Excuse me. And in these things we can go back further in time, so you might see that. But there's certainly somewhere around here there seems to be a support level between sort of a zone area there. The biggest thing I wanted you to get was the Fibonacci. And so you would draw something like that as your Fibonacci. All this mess, this bit of uptrend here is where you would draw your Fibonacci. Okay, and we can see we get 2. nice and easy. So with your extensions, you can see that's the 2 extension. You need to, with something that's cycling, just like the pound, you need to measure the previous downtrend to get the next uptrend. So here you go, right, here you can see it got into the 1.272. So if you're in this and looking at the where this might possibly get to, you draw that, yeah, and so you say, oh, well, there's my extensions up here. Yeah. So that's the previous downtrend. If you look looking at a downtrend, what's in a downtrend? What's in a downtrend? What's in a downtrend? Anything? Okay, dollar Sing. I think is in a downtrend. So again, here, let me get the 50 looking proper. So you measure the previous phase 2, yep, to get where phase 2 will end, somewhere around there. And then this one, this last one is, that's a clear phase 2, so you measure that, and it doesn't even get anywhere near the extensions before just trading sideways. So that's how you draw extensions. Okay, with pennant patterns, would you trade back to the other side of the pennant like a range trade, or only the rest retest after the break? Yeah, I don't really trade pennants a lot, but would you trade it back to the? Yeah, I suppose you could. This seems to be just, I don't know what the other gentleman had a horizontal line, or sorry, trend line under there. Doesn't seem to be one of any value. Yeah, I know what you're saying, mate, is buy it here and sell it at the top end of the pennant as it's working its way into that wedge. Would I trade it? No, I wouldn't. I prefer to trade off horizontals and trend lines. Okay. That's it for the day, guys. We shall be again tomorrow. But we've got a lot of data out. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon my time, so it must be 5 o'clock your time. Between 5 and 7, I suppose, your time. We've got a lot of European data out, so be aware of that if you're trading these on the shorter time frames, such as the Euro pound or the Euro Aussie. But yeah, there should be some good setups for tomorrow once all that stuff is out of the way. Okay, so I shall talk to you then. How do you get yours so adjustable you can pull your fib around and move your trend line? Yeah, I will enjoy the day. Thanks, Barry. I can get the rectangle to operate, but not the ellipse. The rectangle. Here, you just if you right click here, customize. What are you talking about? The ellipse. What's the ellipse? Oh, this thing. So, yeah. So that's just drawing it, and double click on it so you get the little white dot, and drag it out, and then you should be able to move it around. How do you get white dots on your stuff? I don't. Double click on it. Okay, so if you draw a trend line, and then you take your finger off the button, come back to it, and double click on it, double left click. This middle one will be able to drag it. If you grab the middle one, or if you grab the end ones, it will pivot off the other side. If you got this one, it'll pivot off that one, so you can move it around. Yep. Same with Fibonacci. If you draw a fib, you come back to it and double click on it, you've got the white dots, so you can move your fib, or you can readjust the levels from the edges. Yep. Trial and error. Trial and error. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow.